Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
China's story about its people is like a big up and down trip, a roller coaster. It started around 1950, soon after the country was formed. After that, more and more people were born every year. The population grew very fast. It was an explosive growth. But then a big problem happened. From around 1958 to 1961, there was a time of not enough food across the country. This was a catastrophic famine. Millions of people were very hungry, and sadly, many died. Fewer babies were born during these years. This stopped the fast growth for a time. When the food problem was over, the country started to grow again quickly. Many babies were born. This was like a strong baby boom after the famine. The number of people in China grew very fast. By the end of the last century, the population became 2 times bigger than it was before the boom. This happened while people's lives slowly got a little better. Later, in the 1970s, leaders in China became worried. They thought having too many people growing too fast would stop the country from becoming rich and modern. They asked families to have fewer children. Then something very big changed. China started to have fewer births. Now, for the first time in many years, the total number of people is starting to go down. This is a very important change. It is a sudden and historic decline. What does this mean for China and the rest of the world? China's population is getting smaller and older very quickly. This situation is sometimes called a demographic winter. It is a big change for China's future. It is also a big change for the whole world. What will happen next because of this? This book will try to answer that central question. We will look at why the population is changing so much and what problems and changes this brings for everyone. 2. The one-child rule. In the 1970s, Chinese leaders started to worry. They saw the population growing very fast. They thought this fast growth would stop the country from getting richer and hurt the economy. So, in 1973, they began a plan. It was called the Later, Longer, Fewer campaign. This plan asked couples to marry later in life. It also asked them to wait longer before having a child and to have fewer children. The goal was usually no more than 2 children per family. This first plan worked a little. The average number of babies a woman had dropped. It went from about 6 babies per woman in 1970 to about 2.7 by 1980. But in 1980, the government made the rules much stricter. They started the one-child policy across the whole country. For most families, especially in cities, this meant they could only have one child. There were some small differences for families in the countryside. To make people follow this rule, the government used strong methods. Families who had more than one child could face heavy fines, which meant paying a lot of money. There were also public messages and posters everywhere. These messages, like propaganda, said that having one is enough was a good thing. Over the years that followed, the number of babies born each year dropped sharply. By 1990, the birth rate was close to the replacement level. This is the number of babies needed so the population stays about the same size, which is around 2.1 babies per woman. However, the birth rate continued to fall much lower. By 2015, it was below 1.5 babies per woman. Today, the average number of babies per woman is around 1.1 or even less. This is well below the replacement level. This means that each new generation of people born in China is smaller than the generation before it. This fast drop in the birth rate was a very important and big change for China. 3. An old country. After many years, a new problem appeared in families. It is called the 4-2-1 problem. This means one young person may need to take care of their 2 parents and 4 grandparents. This is a big job for one person. Families feel a lot of pressure because of this. They often do not have help from the government or other social systems. For the first time in 60 years, the number of people in China started to go down in 2022. Before, China had the most people in the world. But now, India has more people. China is number 2. The number of people who work is getting smaller. At the same time, the number of old people is growing very fast. Soon, many more people will be old and need help. This changes the country. There is also a problem with the number of men and women. There are many more men than women. This makes it hard for millions of men to find someone to marry. The system to help old people financially is also weak. It does not have enough money for everyone. So, many old people must depend on their children for money and care. But with fewer children, this becomes harder. These changes show that China is becoming an old country very quickly. It changes life for families and the country's future. 4. Young people say no. Young people in China are making important choices about their lives. More and more young people are deciding not to have children. This is a big change. For many years, Chinese families usually had children. But now, young couples, especially those living in cities and working in jobs like offices or technology, are choosing a different path. They often decide not to have any children at all. There are several reasons why young people say no to having babies. One big reason is money. Life is very expensive now. The cost of living has gone up a lot. Houses and flats are very, very expensive, especially in large cities. Buying a home is a dream for many young people, but it takes a lot of money. Raising a child also costs a lot of money. It can cost more money than a young couple earns in many years. Parents need to pay for food, clothes, health care, and many other things. Schools are also competitive and expensive. Getting a child into a good school needs money and effort. Many young couples feel they do not have enough money to give a child a good life. Another important reason is work. Young people often work very long hours, sometimes 6 days a week. They feel they do not have enough time or energy left for children. For women, having children can be difficult for their career. Some companies do not want to hire women who might have babies because they worry about maternity leave. Women worry that if they take time off for a baby, they will lose their job or not get promoted in their career. This is a real worry for many professional women. Also, the one-child rule that lasted for many years had an effect on people's thinking. For a long time, the government propaganda said having one child was good and helpful for the country. This idea stayed in people's minds. Now, having no children feels like a possible and acceptable choice for some young people. Many young couples look at their lives and think that being child-free is the best way. They can focus on their jobs, save money, travel, and enjoy their hobbies. They feel they have more freedom and less stress without the cost and work of raising children. They do not feel pressured to follow the old ideas about family. They see being child-free as the best lifestyle for them right now. This choice is becoming more common among young people in China today. They are saying no to having babies for many personal and economic reasons. 5. The empty factory. China was known as the world's factory for a long time. This meant many goods for other countries were made there. This needed a very large number of workers, often young people, to work in the factories. But now things are changing. Many factories have a problem. They need more workers, but they cannot find them easily. There are not enough young people who want these jobs. Young people today often do not want to do the hard physical work in factories. They want different kinds of jobs, maybe in offices or using computers. This means that factories must change. They have to pay higher salaries to get people to work there, or they must buy many expensive robots to do the work instead of people. The change in the number of people also affects other parts of the economy. With fewer babies being born, companies that make things for babies, like toys or diapers, see their sales go down. These markets are not growing like they used to. Also, the market for buying and selling houses is facing problems. Fewer young people means fewer people want to buy new homes. This makes it hard for people who own houses and for companies that build them. Local governments also have less money from selling land for building. So, the changes in China's population, with fewer young people and more old people, are having a big effect on its economy. The world's factory needs workers, but they are becoming harder to find. This is changing how companies work and making the economy feel the changes. 6. A new plan. Because the number of babies was very low, the government made changes. They ended the rule that said most families could have only one child. First, they said families could have 2 children. This was in 2016. Later, in 2021, they said families could have up to 3 children. The government also started new plans to help people have more babies. In some places, families could get money help for having a child. They also wanted to build more places for young children to go during the day, like nurseries. And they talked about giving new mothers more time off work after a baby is born. These plans were like gifts to help families. But these new plans are not working very well. The number of babies is still low. Why is this happening? People say the help the government gives is often not enough. The money help is sometimes too little. Also, families have big money problems. Living in cities costs a lot. Houses are very expensive. People need a lot of money for schools and taking care of children. The money help from the government does not cover these big costs. Another reason is work. Many women worry about their jobs. If a woman has a baby, she needs time off work. Some employers do not like this. They may not want to hire women who might have babies, or they might not give them good work after they come back. Women feel they might lose their jobs or not get better work if they have children. This makes them not want to have a baby. So, even with the new rules and the help, many families feel it is still too hard and too expensive to have children. The big problems like high costs and job worries are bigger than the help given by the government. The plan was to help the birth rate go up, but for now it is staying low. 7. A world problem. China's population changes are not just a problem for China. They affect the whole world. China is getting older very fast. This means it needs to solve the problem of becoming a rich country before a large part of its people are old. If the country gets old before it is rich enough, it may not have enough money to care for all the older people. China's economy is important for other countries. China buys many things from around the world, like oil, food, and goods people use every day. If China has fewer people or its economy grows slower because it has fewer workers, it will buy less from other countries. This can mean less business for companies in places like Brazil or Europe. For a long time, many companies built factories in China. This was because there were many workers and they were not very expensive. But now there are fewer young workers and their pay is increasing. So, some companies are starting to move their factories to other countries. They are going to places like Vietnam, Mexico, and India, where there are still many young workers. China is also a big player in the world politically. An older China might act differently on the world stage. Some people think that as China gets older and faces problems at home, its leaders might want to show strength to the world. This could mean focusing more on being a strong nation and perhaps becoming more nationalistic. This could change relationships between China and other countries. The population problem is a big change for China and for the world. It changes how countries trade with each other and how they act in the world. It is a new time with new challenges. 8. The future of China. The future of China faces a very big job. The country must take care of many old people. Maybe 400 million older citizens will need help in the coming years. This is a very large number, more people than live in many countries. They will need money for living and help with health care. China needs strong support systems for them across the country. Building these systems will be very difficult and expensive. What can China do to help with this challenge? One important idea is to let people work longer before they stop their jobs. This means raising the age when people can retire. If people work more years, they can support themselves and their families. And there are more people in the workforce. Another important idea is to use more machines and technology in factories and other places. Using robots and new systems can help do work when there are fewer young people available. New technology might make each worker much more effective and able to produce more. This change in the ages of China's population is a big moment in history for the country. It marks the end of a special time. For many years, China had a very large number of young people. This was a time of rapid economic growth. Many young people moved from farms to cities to work in factories. This provided cheap labor and helped China become a big manufacturing country. China was often called the world's factory because it could make many things for a low cost. But now, with fewer young people and more older people, that time is ending. The supply of cheap young workers is getting smaller. So, the future of China is not certain. Many people wonder how the economy will grow with fewer workers and more costs for older citizens. They wonder how families will manage when one young person must support many older relatives. Nobody knows exactly what will happen, and there are big challenges ahead for China. But this big change happening in China's population will likely change things for the whole world too. It will affect global markets, trade, and even international power. How do you think China's older population will change the world?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.